All right, here we are. Sweet. Perfect. Okay, good morning, good morning. Here we are, here we are. Fabulous, fabulous. All right, good early morning. Good early morning, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Shift Happens. This is your space to gently gear up or wind down, however this day finds you. I'm Sina, your host, and I'm so glad that you're here. Whether you're just getting started, winding down from a night shift, or simply holding space for yourself before the world wakes up, this world is yours. Today is Monday, and we are leaning into, once again, setting intention for the week. If this happens to be your weekend, because you're off on Mondays, which I always used to like to be, then that's perfect as well. For this day, because you are off, you can catch up on things like sleep or chores or grocery shopping. So, it's always, for me, when I did a lot of shift work, it was always cool when I had a day off on a Monday. There was something about staying in the bed while everybody else had to get up and rush off to do the hustle and bustle that was just cathartic for me. Anyway, today we're going to do things a little bit different. We're going to talk about a couple things that I came in contact with over the weekend. We're also going to talk about our wins. Let's talk about our wins. A lot of times going into the Monday morning rush of things, we don't think about our wins from the weekend. If you spent time with a loved one and just baked cookies or watched movies or, did each other's hair, then that was a win for the weekend. You fed your emotional needs. If you were able to get some things done that you had been working on, a project, you made progress on it or you completed it, that's also a win. It's important to keep your wins at the forefront when you go into a new week. Getting up and having to go back to the same routine of the things that you do day after day can be grueling. It can be very difficult, but it's important to remember that. What is it important to remember? Throwing hands leads to bracelets. That's what it's important to remember. I think it's important to remember that even if you go into that job with a boss or a colleague who gets on your nerves, throwing hands leads to lawsuits. We don't need that. We do not need that. So let's think about some wins. Who wants to think about their wins? I think it's important to focus on them. Wins for me. A win for me was I was able to get some trash cleared out of my yard that was left by a gardener who was supposed to be doing some kind of trim work. I have found that sometimes they leave kind of a mess, which is why I don't really fool with them. I mean, not too much, because a lot of times you have to go back and then clean up what someone has left for whatever reason. And I was able to get a section of my yard cleared out where I'd like to put my table and my chair for when I'm working outside during office hours or whatever have you. I would like to have a comfortable place to sit. And it's in a good spot where I can see things that are happening around me. But if you are coming by, maybe you wouldn't see me right away. I kind of like spots like that in the yard. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get into what we need to start our day. I was going to start talking about a couple of news stories. I definitely want to talk about this one. So over the weekend on my Newsbreak app, I got a story about a young woman, 22 years old, who was unalived by a man she met online after saying she just wanted to be friends. And the photo is of a beautiful young lady who is just starting her life. And she met someone online, I guess, for friendship or maybe for dating. But what she wanted at the end of it was to be friends. She was not interested in a romantic pursuit with this gentleman. Cops said the victim, Kaylee Grace Arseth, was found pew-pewed multiple times inside of her Richfield, Minnesota apartment on June 17th. The two met online and had been spending time together, but her friends told police it was never romantic. You know, sometimes we have in our minds what our intention is. And sometimes the person that we're dealing with has a totally different set of intention. And a lot of times, especially in relationships, personal relationships, sometimes as a woman, you deal with a man who has in his mind what this is going to be. And it really doesn't matter what you say or how you say it. He has in his mind that this is what it's going to be. This is not victim shaming. This is a fact of life and what it is. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, you know, you lead him on, you tell him this, you tell him that, but if you don't mean it, don't say it. And what I'd like to impress upon people is sometimes it doesn't matter what you say. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. You could be in a tank top and jeans, no midriff showing, maybe a shoulder, or hell, a shirt like this one, and some shorts. It doesn't matter what you say. Sometimes when that individual has you in their sights for a particular reason, you're in their sights for a particular reason. I don't know if in the case with this young lady, if she was too trusting of a stranger. It sounds like that could have been the case. But at one point in the article, it says that this was a quote from the text she sent. I did enjoy hanging out with you, but I don't have enough mental capacity for any type of relationships right now, she told him in a Snapchat message sent on June 16th. So if she said this in plain language to this man, I don't have mental capacity for any type of relationship right now, then what is the problem? What is the problem? This is something that I hear coming up in conversation a lot, especially lately. And it's something that as a female, you have to deal with on a regular basis because you're outside, because you have to go to the store. Well, I mean, DoorDash can bring you your stuff, or, Amazon delivers to a lot of places, but you have to go outside. You have to be around folks. It's the healthy way to live. And the issue that a lot of young women, and not even necessarily just young women, but women in general come up with, is my hair sitting wrong? It probably is that you feel like whether it's you say no or you're not interested or you don't want to give out your number and all of a sudden you get called names. Or whether you're not interested, you don't want to give out your phone number, you say flat out, I am not interested in dating, and now all of a sudden, you're uptight. There's something wrong with you because you don't want me. And this, unfortunately, is a more extreme case where you say, listen, I am not in that space. And the person says, you're in that space with me, or we ain't in any space, breathing or otherwise. It gets that intense. And this is one news story, but this is something that happens a lot, because I know if me, with my hair undone and, my little bob, can have issues with guys being pushy and unsettled, and I mean seriously hurt, that ego just bruised, because I say, hey, being flat out with you, I'm just not there right now. You get tried for that. And I think that in this case with this young lady, this is indicative of a much larger problem that men have. Maybe in this country, maybe in others, I can't speak for anywhere else, but here in the U.S., and I won't say that it's just because of your immigration status either. The natives born here still have the same kind of issue. And it's a definite problem. And we need to open up the conversation about this, because this is another, it's femicide. This is another way that we as women do not feel safe. And even when you set your intention, if someone opposite you has a different intention, it's like there are times when it can go to a place that it doesn't need to go. Now this family has lost a daughter. The other gentleman's family has lost a son. Someone is in a cage now because you didn't understand, or you didn't want to understand when someone said, my intention is not to do X, Y, Z. And it's not just women that have to deal with this. Men do as well. How many straight men who are attractive have turned down or said no, or said, I'm not in this space, and now all of a sudden your status is weaponized against you? Oh, well, maybe you don't like women. Maybe you just like boys. Like, it's very, I want to say it's very trite, but what I want to say is it's very lowbrow. It's very unnecessary. It shows a level of emotional immaturity and hurt that doesn't suit the situation. And I think sometimes we conflate intention with desire. And we conflate our intention with, we just have this tunnel vision. I intend to have this. But what if that's not for you? What if that doesn't want you? Do we need to reevaluate some things? It's a deep conversation, but we need to understand that no means no at the end of the day. And I think that the gentleman, if there is that penalty in the state of Minnesota, they need to go ahead and handle that, because there needs to be a precedent set that this is not okay. Man who died after being sucked into MRI machine was brought into the room by technician before going limp into wife's arms. Have you all heard about this? A man who left us after being sucked into an MRI machine was brought into the room by a technician before the accident. Keith McAllister, 61, was dragged into the machine by his necklace during his wife's scan and suffered catastrophic injuries before passing on the next day. So according to this story, the woman was having an MRI done of her knee, and she needed her help to get off of the table, they can raise the seat and lower the seat, but sometimes if you are not as mobile as you need to be, then you may need assistance turning to step down or help to get up off of the bench. The MRI machine it's a wonderful invention, but it's not exactly the most comfortable spot to sit. And depending on what you are getting that magnetic resonance imaging done on, it can be an uncomfortable situation, and it can be hard to get up off of that. My girlies who've had the breast MRIs done, my goodness. You have to go in head first, and then you're face down with your boobs in a hole, and it is not comfortable, and you got to be there a while, and that thing is loud. Thump, thump, thump. It's loud. They do have open ones. I don't know about the noise of the open one, but it's not an easy test to take. So anyway, but they tell you when you go in for your testing, you have to take everything off and you have to put on a gown. And of course, they isolate the body part as best they can that they want to do the imaging on. But one thing that you are not allowed to do, you can't wear earrings, you can't wear rings, you can't wear anything else. If you have something that would be affected by the magnet, like a pacemaker or any other type of metal in your body, these are things that are very important for you as the patient to disclose, because you're going into a room with a giant magnet. And for those of us who have those little magnets on the refrigerator, or if you've been to elementary school and you've, handled smaller magnets, this is like that little magnet that you push across the desk for science class times 10,000. So this was a huge mistake by the technician for letting this man in the room, being that he had on a 20-pound chain. It was just a big mistake. Now, was the chain visible? I don't know, but there are questions that have to be asked before anyone goes into the room. And so, of course, being human, someone probably made the mistake. He's probably there all the time, It's a huge mistake that cost this gentleman his life. I have not been anywhere where they have allowed anyone else into the room to help someone up. If you need help, the technicians typically will help you, or the nurse, or whatever. I've not ever been to a facility where they would let your dad or your husband or whoever come in. But I think as a courtesy, if she needed the help, then it was a nice courtesy that was extended. But sometimes when you slip up, and you make those mistakes, it can be costly. And this was definitely an instance of that. So where did this happen? This happened in, let me see. Let me go down and see. This happened on Long Island, it says. So a lot of people may have a vision of like a movie kind of vision where, it's like, oh no, it's dramatic and he's being sucked into the machine. Oh my God. Nah, it probably wasn't that. It probably was that the necklace was being pulled, and he probably wasn't, well, it doesn't really matter what way he was facing, but if a huge magnet is pulling something that is around your neck, it's not taking into account that you can't breathe. It's like a choke chain on steroids. And they saw firsthand what can happen when precautions are not taken. I don't know what steps will be taken or what things will be discussed as far as liability or culpability, but we do send up prayers to the family. Mrs. Jones McAllister lost her husband, and I pray that she is comforted during this time. Condolences to the widow. So what would happen going forward? I don't know. She may choose to sue the company. The company may choose to fire that technician. I don't know. The dominoes will fall, though. And she has lost something that is irreplaceable. And we certainly can understand and have empathy for that. Sorry about that, ma'am. But keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, magnetic resonance imaging is done by a humongous magnet. And, you shouldn't have anything metal on or inside your body if you go into that room. This is something that, this is one of those things where you hear about the possibility, but you don't really expect it to actually happen. And so when it does, it's like, oh, that's why they always say, So I sincerely hope that she will be able to find some source of comfort and peace, because that is absolutely terrible. And I just feel so badly for her, for the family. But let's talk about our intention for the day. So what is your intention? I don't think that you should go into anywhere without knowing what your intention is. Think about what your goal is. So as you get up to leave for the day today, and you have your morning coffee or go through your morning routine, what is your intention today? For some people, it's just to get through the day. But I challenge you to find a goal. Whatever your goal is, it doesn't matter. Set the intention today to take a baby step to reach whatever that goal is. Start small. 10 minutes. I'm starting small. I'm here on a live stream. I don't think anybody is watching at the moment, but I am going to do this show, tweak it, make it great. And then this is where we are going to be hanging out for my early birds, for my insomniacs. This is just where we gonna be this time of morning with the rooster crowing in the background and some candles, just talking about some stuff that's going on in the world. So should we talk about the CEO of that company and his girlfriend who were caught at the Coldplay concert on the kiss cam? Maybe we'll save that for next time. We'll save that for Wednesday. That's more of a Wednesday kind of pick me up and give me something to maybe have a kiki about. So we'll save that one for Wednesday. I want to close out though with a quote for today. And let's talk about Henry David Thoreau. I sound educated, don't I? Famed author of the classics, some classics. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. it makes one wonder why there is such a disconnect between the life that we imagine and the life we live. Right? What is it that you're imagining versus what you have? Full transparency moment. I used to think that I wanted to be just rich and just able to sit in my own home and, relax in luxury. I didn't even know what luxury was. And, have a job that I love or do work that I love or not work at all. I think that I am one of those people who, of course, growing up with television, because when I was a kid, we didn't have AI and all these things the kids today have access to, but growing up with television and looking at things that are outside of what is real, looking at things that are made up specifically to entertain, it kind of puts the wool over your eyes so that you're looking at a reality that's kind of like this. Whereas if you put your hand in front of your face and kind of close your fingers, you can see still, but it's not a clear view. So I think what we need to work on today is look at what you really have. And I'm not saying look at it by comparison to what others don't. I'm saying look at what you really have. Do you have food in your refrigerator or in your pantry? Do you live in a place where you have a refrigerator? Is your name on this? Then you are doing well. Did you make rent this month? Were you able to? Was it comfortable? Maybe not. Are there things we can do to make it better? Then you are winning. Did you wake up this morning and breathe in and out without the assistance of something that had to be plugged in? Just you and your lungs by yourselves. Then you're winning. It's the small things. And as long as you have breath in your body and the desire in your heart, you can live the life you have imagined. If you don't look at it like this, through a lens that someone else put on a screen in front of you. Move all that out of the way. Disconnect from those screens and those things that are meant to distract you and entertain you and pull money out of your pocket so that we can keep entertaining you. And look at what you really have. Look at what you really have. Use your resources. You have more resources than you think you do. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams, because it's not about the attainment. It is about the journey, the experiences and memories that you form and shape on the way to your goal. Stop looking at what someone else's journey is like and what they may have that you don't have. Don't covet that's over there. Look at what you have. And if there's something that you want, then focus your energy on trying to get that thing. Now, whether you get it or not, if it's for you, according to the Most High, that's a personal thing that only you really and truly know if you're being honest with yourself. But the journey towards it determines the type of life that you live in conjunction with the choices you make and your mindset. So let's take this and shift our focus to make the day great, to make the step on the journey great. Even those who have huge setbacks still have the mindset that this is what I want, this is who I am, and we are moving forward, one foot in front of the other. And on Wednesday, we'll come in and discuss what wins you were able to accomplish with this new mindset, following the ideal that you will go forth towards your dream and the life that you have imagined. Even if your dream is to just get hired. No dream is too small. No dream is too small or too insignificant to make you great in your lane and in your own right. So, hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning in and spending this half hour or so with me this morning. I hope that we have had some conversation that has been uplifting. And I hope that you'll drop down in the chat and let me know how you feel today, what your wins are. And we will go forth in the direction of our dreams. Let's make it a day where we intentionally choose happiness and kindness over violence. Although sometimes you need to choose violence. We are going to be intentional today in what we put out into the universe. And going forward, hopefully we can come back and talk about how that has helped us change and grow. This has been Shift Happens. I hope that you will continue to tune in. Leave me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you are up or if you like to catch my replays. And I hope to talk to you again soon. God willing and the creek don't rise. I will see you on Wednesday for the next episode of Shift Happens. Let's make it a great day.